All right, as a reminder, we're recording. Welcome to the first episode of the 2019 MoneyMaker Reseller Webinar. Thanks so much for joining us. We had to postpone last week's due to the holiday. Typically, we do run these once a month, the first Wednesday of every month. We are starting at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. There was some feedback last year that some recommendation of us looking into changing the time so that we can account for some other time zones. That is something that we're looking into and definitely looking at the dates and times. For now, we're going to keep it as the first Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. If anything changes, we will make sure to notify everybody. As a reminder, your host for this program, for this series, is myself, Shannon. We have Chelsea always joining us, and Christina, who we've been talking about for quite some time, that will be coming back in 2019, will actually be back moderating next month. So we are very excited to get Christina back. She'll be taking this series back over next month and moderating. I'm actually going to be stepping out for a while. This is my last one moderating until mid-2019. Chelsea will be here still with you guys and the great reseller team that's always on here as well. Just some housekeeping things before we get started. If you do have questions, please make sure that you put them into the question and answer section. Sometimes the chat area is hard for us to get to. This session is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be able to interact with the Q&A a little bit more. So do make sure that you utilize the Q&A section if you do have a question. Again, Christina will be taking over next month, and moving forward, Chelsea will be here with you, and I will be gone until about mid-2019. This agenda we kind of shifted. We are going to really narrow this down and focus on one of the large topics that we wanted to kick the year off with. We're going to be looking at a little more introduction and in-depth into our custom navigation that we've been showcasing and talking about for the last couple months. We also want to talk about the new storefront, the new standard storefront, the features, what that looks like, some of the changes, the great advancements, and just an overview of that. As a reminder, that's the new standard storefront that launched last month. There has been a lot of talk about it and some questions, so we wanted to dedicate this full series, this full episode to that so that we had a place that we could showcase for you guys. We're also going to be utilizing our WordPress plugin and actually building a storefront live to you guys to showcase exactly how easy it is to use a WordPress plugin to build a storefront. And then we're going to save a little bit more time at the end for Q&A. Just because we have the full team here, we want to be able to address some of the questions. And then if we're not able to address them, there will be some follow-up. So I think it's great. Let's get started. Again, we have a full storefront, new storefront demo and intro and talking about the features. So we want to get started. Today we brought in Kurt. He's going to show us some of the custom navigation stuff, and also Brian for the storefront build. We're going to actually start with Brian first, and then we'll go into Kurt and some of the questions as well. So Brian, if you want to take it.
All right. Thank you, Shannon. I'll go ahead and do the share screen here. And connect there. Okay. Thanks, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Shannon. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Now what you're looking at here is my just WordPress dashboard. I'm running WordPress 5.02, the latest version. So what we'll do is get started by taking a look at the themes and just installing a theme. So right now I just have the standard default theme. You can choose any theme. Our WordPress plugin will work we test with several different themes here in-house, and then we also take feedback if you're having issues with your current theme. But we try to make our plugin as compatible with as many themes as possible. So the theme I'm going to choose here, I'm just going to go ahead and search for storefront. And I'll choose this theme here called Turnkey Storefront. So let's install that. And go ahead and activate that theme. Now that I've activated the Turnkey Storefront theme, it will prompt me to go ahead and install the Reseller Store plugin. And that plugin is available just via the standard WordPress directory. I can actually click here and open that up real quick. And the version I'll be installing is the version 2.09. Let's go back to my dashboard. So now that plugin is installed, let's go ahead and activate. And you'll see here is a list of all my plugins, and you'll have Reseller Store as one of the available plugins. So let's go ahead and begin to set up that storefront. So this will be the page that you use to set up your account. What you'll do is you can just navigate here on the tray to Reseller Store, and it'll prompt you for the setup. I just navigated it directly from the theme had prompted me to go ahead and set that up.
Hey, Brian, can I just pause you real quick, just because some people that are joining us, English may not be their first language. Could I ask you just to slow down a little bit more and maybe go into a little bit more detail of what you're clicking, just so that we can make sure to capture it?
Yeah, absolutely. Should I start that process over or just continue where we're at?
I think you can continue. I know that one
Okay.
of the questions in the community that we've seen prior was, how do I download the new version? And so you did go over that briefly,
Okay.
and just to make sure that we are capturing that at a pace that everybody can consume.
Sounds great. So yeah, to do the plugins, you have the menu here, and there are several different ways. The one way I chose was through this banner at the top here. You can also click Add New. So there are several ways to install the plugin. Clicking Add New, you would simply come over here and search. So I could say reseller, and that would also bring up the GoDaddy reseller store. Now, since it's already installed and active on my account, I'll want to go ahead and set up the plugin. So click Setup. And I'm going to use my GoDaddy account to go ahead and sign in and activate. Click on that. And I'll choose my demo reseller I'm going to choose right now here as SKCD. And let's go ahead and click the Activate button. Now what this is doing, or has done, is it, during activation, imported the settings from the Reseller Control Center, and then called out to our catalog API to import all of the products that you offer on your storefront. And these are the same products offered on the standard storefront, and they'll be listed as what we call a custom post type that are labeled as products. So via this custom post type, we have products like VPS, and we'll show you the price and then the categories. I'll go in a little bit more details about the categories. But what I am going to do real quick is I had these products imported already, and so some of the icons are slightly outdated. Yesterday, we did update the icons on both the standard storefront and in the plugin. So if you're looking at your page here, for example, if I go to edit, let's say SSL, now this is WordPress 5.0 with the Gutenberg update. And so it might look a little different if you're on WordPress 4. But you'll have the product image over here, and you'll notice this is a slightly outdated image. So I can easily just update all of the images and the content on this page by simply selecting every single product, and from the menu here, click Restore Product Data. And what that's going to do is go ahead and call out to our API, and it's going to grab all the latest content that's available for each product.
So when do you recommend doing this? Always during a new build, or is this something that is a continual, something that we want them to continually do, or when do you recommend this taking place?
So there's probably two different scenarios. One scenario is, let's say I go in to this website security here right now. You can do it at any time, but the one scenario might be this. Let's say I'm editing this. Now I'm free to modify this content in any way. So I can take this text, change it. I can add additional bullet points and hit update. And so that will have my extra information. If at any point I want to go back to what the recommended content is, that's one time you can go there, because what this will do by highlighting and selecting restore product data, that will go back and get the original content. So as one way, you always have that safety net to get the original content and roll back. Other times is when we launch like a new product, or we change some content ourselves about a product, by doing some upgrades or additional icons. So we'll usually, alert or let you know via an announcement in the Reseller Control Center that a new product has launched, or we've transitioned a version of a product. For example, when we transition from the website builder to the updated website builder version, that would be a great time to go ahead and do a restore, because you'll get all the latest information about that website builder product. So, beyond that, there's not like a reason to go ahead and update, unless, like I said, we make a change on our side and you want to get that information. The pricing here will also will update just on a frequent basis. So you don't need to update the product information, to get the latest pricing. However, you could, if you wanted to see the pricing, you didn't want to wait for the caching to expire, you could update the product information. Now I have 2 pages here. So what I've done is just came over to this option over here and went to page 2, because my data is paged and it's showing about 50 per page. And I'm just going to go ahead and update page 2. So for example, take a look at like the quick shopping cart
Real quick,
premium.
let me ask you a question, Brian. There was one that came in. I'm going to stop you during it just so that we can answer questions live. We have a multi-currency on reseller plugin, just like standard storefront. Can we have that? And the target customer is UK based and they want to see Euro pricing on their custom WordPress. What do you recommend for that?
Yeah, so they can. The default currency showing on this screen is coming from the Reseller Control Center. So I'll go ahead and just restore this data while that's restoring. I can log into the Reseller Control Center. Under Settings and then Global Pricing. No, not that one. Settings and then Currency. Whichever default currency you have set here as your display transaction currency, that's the default currency that will go into the reseller WordPress plugin here. Now, you can also take advantage of some filters, and I can cover that in a future over here, because it does get a little bit more technical talking about WordPress filters and settings. But we do have ways for you to use like a settings plugin that we're working on right now. They give you a little bit deeper ability to change settings, or you can just code the filter to change your currency.
And maybe we can cover that in one of your future episodes that you post to our YouTube channel for plugin updates as well.
Yeah.
And we can share that with you, Max. Another question pertaining to what we're looking at. If you update a product information, if you have modified the content previously, does it wipe out previous changes? So when you update a product, if you have modified the content previously, does it wipe out the previous changes?
Yes, it will wipe out the previous changes. Now, if you have turned on in your WordPress the history, which is by default turned on in almost every WordPress, you'll be able to click on the date here and then see all of the different, actually not that one, where's the history in the new version? You can see the history. I may have it turned off on my demo version here, and see updated history of that previous changes and current changes. But yes, if you do update, it will overwrite whatever content you put in here with our recommended content.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I have right now for questions.
Absolutely. So what you'll see here, for example, the dedicated Windows server, and we have the new product icon image that will also match what's on the standard storefront. So I'm going to click here to reseller store. Let's go ahead and just leave this, meaning I don't want to save any of my changes. And we can take a look at the product list here. So we have various different products like WordPress, website builder, the email marketing, shopping cart, cPanel, website backup. And what you can do, if you go to the middle of the screen here, is there's a category. So if I want to see just my WordPress offerings, I can actually click on WordPress, and that will filter and now I can see the WordPress. In that case, let's say I only wanted to update WordPress, I could click on those and just hit restore product data, and that would be limited to those products. And so we've gone ahead and tagged and gave categories to all these products. It also will help building menus and pages be a little bit easier because you can use the categories and tags. And let's look at that real quick. Under the reseller store on the left-hand side here, you'll see categories. So if I click on that, and these are all the categories that we've provided for you, and you can actually just click on one of these and click the view button. And it will show you, any products that are assigned to that category. In this case, domain backorder, is its own category. So that's how that shows up there. But I could go to domains and view all the domains products. So like domain registration, domain backorder. The same thing occurs, for, let's say you want to do like shopping cart, you can view all the product offerings on that. So these pages come automatically. They're product post pages that are in standard WordPress, but you may want to actually build your own page to give a little bit more details and content. So let's take a look at that by coming up to new. Actually, it's a new post, so I want to do a new page. So let's do new page here. And the page I'm going to go ahead and build is just a VPS hosting page. So let's go ahead and choose Linux VPS hosting. Now, again, I'm using Gutenberg plugin here, or Gutenberg standard builder. It's not a plugin. It just ships with WordPress 5.0. But some of you may have your own builder plugins. I know there's quite a few popular ones out there like Divi and Beaver Builder. You can do all the same functionality here and actually go way beyond what I'm going to do using your builders. But I'm just going to kind of keep it simple and just put some planned content in here. So I just have a H2 tag here, a list, and a couple other tags here. And let's take a look at the actual product widgets that we offer. So now I've got content here. I'm going to say choose my plan size, and I'm going to put in just 3 columns. So I have this here. Click on that and change this from 2 columns to 3 columns. And again, this is just the Gutenberg option here. It gives you a way to add columns this way, or you can come up here to the top, click the add block, and you have the columns here. They show up under layout elements columns. So that's all I did was to add a column. Now within my first column, I want to add another widget. So let's go ahead and click on that add block. And we have these blocks available here with the plugin. It gives you a new category. We'll call those reseller store modules. So let's go ahead and expand that and choose the product. This is going to be the product plan, and it pulls all the same content from the post that we were looking at that shows up under reseller store. And that's how, if you wanted to modify that text, you'd go and edit the actual product post. So since I'm building a VPS page, let's go ahead and drop this list down. And then we're going to go ahead and choose the VPS Linux. So I'm going to come down here. And I have all my different plan sizes available. So let's go ahead and start with the VPS Linux value plan. And I'm going to use a product icon, which will be an SVG style image. And I'll go into a little bit more details about those images and how we can adjust and change the color with the theme or CSS. So that's the first one there. Let's go ahead and change this add to cart button. And we will just say select plan.
And Brian, for a specific product, just to confirm, the shopping cart that we are currently selling is the older one. It's not the e-com version of our site builder. That's correct, right?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so the next one we have here, we'll go ahead and come down here to this list, and let's go ahead and choose VPS Linux Deluxe. We'll change add to cart, and we will say select plan. And then we'll do product again here. And then we'll put in the last one, which will be the VPS Linux Ultimate. So now we have our different plans listed with the features about those plans that the shopper can choose. We may want to show a little bit more information here. For example, it does show 60 gig, 120, 240 in the size. If we want to, I can actually take this slider and make this content a little bit bigger or smaller with the more information below it. So let's go ahead and just drag these to all be about the same size. So the first one was 380. We can make that one 380. And we'll make that last one 380. Okay. So now I have my 3 product pods here, and I can actually click preview, and I'll see that I'm starting to build the page. Now I've got this extra information here. Let's go ahead and hide that because that's not pertinent to what I want on my page. So I'll click custom and just change the actual layout so that we have a slightly different layout. And then below that, I may want to add some more plan information. So let's go ahead and add some more information to my page. I'm just going to use a simple table for this demo that's built into the Gutenberg block. There are lots of different table plugins you can use, and depending on what theme you're using and what builders, your tables can look a little different. So let's go ahead and publish this. And then view our page. So now we've built a little page here with the information for VPS plans. I can also go back and add images if I want to this page using the image block provided by, let's click edit here. To give a little bit more graphics to the page, for example, you can click on the little plus mark here. Actually, I'm going to go above it. And I can add like another column block if I wanted to. I can drag these guys into that first block. Oop, I kind of missed it, didn't I? Is it going to let me do that? Yep, it goes into that block. And then click and drag that into this block here. I could add an additional image block. And come from my media library. And there's lots of stock imagery that you can use. In this case, I think I grabbed this image from Unsplash. And you can add images. This guy still, I want to go up just one more, don't I? And let's drag this into here. Okay, so I have some images there. I can go ahead and update my page. And let's take a look at what that looks like now. So what I have is a page with some intro text. I can actually select my plan, and then I have a comparison table here of the different options. So let's say I go ahead and I want to use the VPS Linux Deluxe product, and I can click on that, and that will take me as a shopper to go ahead and configure, and I can choose whether I want managed, fully managed, and then my pricing will go ahead and adjust as I change those. How long do I want to purchase for terms? Do I want to do backup and restore? And then if I want to add website security deluxe. So let's go ahead and go back to my home page here. And Kurt will talk about how to set this here in a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and click home. And you'll see here I have home page and I have my new product, which is the Linux VPS hosting.
And Ryan, let's pause here and just take a review of this. So with the launch of our new standard storefront, one of the needs that we've found based on research and surveys that we've done is that a majority of our resellers, new and old, have wanted a way to customize their storefront. So we have worked to provide this type of plugin platform with the latest advancements so that we do give the option to customize here. So that's why we started out with this one. There was a lot of feedback and questions that we have collected since launching the new standard storefront on what options do I have for customization, how do I use the WordPress plugin, is it difficult to use? And so why we started with this is we wanted to showcase just how easy the plugin is to not only get through the WordPress plugin, but also how to utilize the content that's already created in there to start building your own custom storefront. Anything else you want to add on that, Brian?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's exactly the strategy and the plan we had here, was to let you add and build your own pages. You know, with a lot of the changes that the search engine have made, and as well as just general, you know, navigation with social media and things like that. You know, it's important to have your own unique content and sell the product with your own brand and, you know, your own style. And so the WordPress page lets you do that. So we have a lot of different modules and stuff that we put into this plugin. I can actually create, let's say, a new page here. And this time I want to build a domain transfers page. And we'll look at the other widget that we have for around domains. So I'll go ahead and choose domain transfers, type that in. And I have some content here that I can add in for domain transfers. So what I might do.
And I think a great thing too, just so everyone is aware, Brian does publish updates for the plugin on the reseller team YouTube channel, and we share that through the community. We'll make that more accessible too. That's going to give you the greatest tips, techniques, and the latest updates to the plugin to help you really advance your customization. Again, as Brian made a point, the search engines and just the whole landscape of the storefront on the web, the more customization, the better branding, the better results you're going to get. And with our number one goal of providing you with the tools to be most successful, we want to make sure that we give you a wide array of options here. And I think a great follow-up is that we are going to bring in our SEO expert here at GoDaddy. In a future one, we're hoping to get him for February to talk to us about SEO, the changes that are coming, and really how to optimize your storefront as well. So that's a great lead-in. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So the other widget that we have as part of this, we had the product widget that we talked about, is the domain widget. And so with this widget, it allows you to choose a standard domain, advanced domain, and a transfer domain. In this demo, I'm going to build a transfer domain. So I'm going to choose the transfer domain widget. The standard domain, we'll talk about that, or we'll use that on the homepage. And what that will do is when they do a search, it will take the shopper to our search results page, at which point they can continue the domain purchase flow. And then the advanced domain search is actually a React component that allows the search results to display on your page, and you can choose that through a modal window here, and change your search results that you want to come back. And then standard is just very similar to the transfer widget that will take you to our domain purchase flow. So we're going to choose transfer domain. And the reason we take you through our purchase flow on these is because there is additional information that we ask for during the actual purchase of a transfer domain, such as unlocking your domain and getting your code. So now we have the domain transfer here. I can just add a little bit more content. And then I can publish this page. And then we can view the page. We now have a domain transfer page. And so then I could actually transfer any domain that I wanted over to my reseller account. For example, let's say I want to choose like brianfoch.com and I want to start that transfer process. I can click on it. And that will take you to my page here and get the information to continue transferring this domain. Now, one thing I'll go through real quick before I let Kurt take over. With the latest update that we published yesterday, we do have a bunch of shortcodes for the icons that we offer. So I'm just going to make a quick shortcode icon page and just show you all the various different icons that we offer. And so the way the short code works is you give it the short code of r* icon, and then you give it the description that you want to use. So you can use hosting, dedicated server, dedicated IP, any of that information. All of our different products have their own actual icon description.
Hey, Brian, real quick on that. Where are you getting the content, like the spreadsheet and the domain transfer content? Where are you getting that from?
So for the domain transfer page, I actually just went to my standard page.
So your standard storefront page?
And I went to domains, and then I went to domain transfer here.
Okay.
And that was the content you're actually seeing is the same content. And I, modified the text just a little bit, to fit my needs. Maybe change the order. Yeah.
Great. So there again, just to recap, you went to your standard storefront, the new one that we published at the end of last year, took some of the content up there, and then put it into the plugin, and then you wrapped it around it with some additional branding and maybe additional updates as well.
And then for the table, I actually, during the flow here, when you click select plan, that table at the bottom, I just grabbed the information that was on this page. For example, I noticed that managed came with CentOS only, fully managed was also there, and then self-managed comes with 3. And so I went through some different plan features that were there and just added that to the page.
And is it as easy as copy and paste as you're building these, or is it more advanced than that?
It really depends on what you want your page to look like, right? You can copy and paste the content over. If you want to build some fancy tables, there are lots of different table plugins and CSS plugins that you can use that allow you to add more animations and things to your page. So if you want just a static table, absolutely copy and paste. If you want to do some more animations, you'll need like an animation plugin to do that.
Right. And I'm just going to pause you real quick because we are looking at content real quick, and then you can continue on with yours. For the copy and paste and for the content, not only have we created a new pod in your reseller control center dashboard on the right-hand side, we've been talking about it for a couple months now, but we're also going to be building out a resource center that will provide you with additional content that you can put into the plugin on your storefront. So we'll help grow and provide additional stuff for you to copy and paste, and then as you build out, you can also utilize, as Brian mentioned, some of the different modular and plugins to help grow that. So
yeah, we're looking at the Reseller Control Center dashboard, and that information you're talking about is right here. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go back. So these are the different shortcode icons that are available, and then the actual icon description that you would give it would display which icon you're seeing. Now, since these are SVG icons, I happen to be using this turnkey storefront theme, which has been synchronized with our standard storefront for colors. So I can come over here and just modify my site identity so I can actually change the title information, add tagline or get rid of tagline. I can put a logo up there if I want to put a logo instead of the text. But I can come down here to colors and color schemes, and I can actually choose a color theme that's compatible with the Reseller Control Center color theme. So I can choose something like autumn, and you'll see that the colors will start to match my actual storefront experience for the cart checkout, as well as the icons will take in that color. So you can choose a bunch of these different ones.
let's talk about short codes real quick. There was a question. Can we get the short code for the advanced domain search? Is there a place to get all short codes for everything with all possible values for each attribute?
Yeah, I can provide that information for you. I believe I've posted some information in the Google Plus community, but we can get that information more out there.
So I think as we've all been hearing chatter and talking about it with the Google Plus community shutting down and us investigating the best possible option for you resellers to migrate to, don't you worry, we will definitely be announcing that. I think putting it into your reseller control center dashboard under a section that we find in there, I think would be appropriate as well for this. And so let's put it in the reseller control center too. So to answer that, the short codes for a majority of the short codes needed and the values for attributes we will be putting into your reseller control center. Always check the news and alert section.
Great. Yeah, so these are the icons that are available. And I think I'm running out of time, but we can circle back on, if you watch some of the videos, I talk about how to build a home page, how to use the widgets. If you come over here to this theme, or most themes have a customizer, you can actually add widgets. This page doesn't actually have the box up here, but you can actually add additional domain search widgets to your home page. I can say something like, start with SKCD tech, and actually build out a homepage and have similar experience. So at this point, I'll go ahead. Are there any other questions before I hand this off to Kurt?
Just one real quick, back on the term links. Can you add term links for VPS and WordPress plugin itself, and then directly send customer to cart.secureserver.net page? That was one of the questions pertaining to this.
So it depends on the product. So for the first question, can you change the actual terms? Right now, no, the terms are not changed within the plugin. They are, once you get into cart, you can actually adjust the terms there, or within the actual what we call config page flow. Then you can go ahead and we have that box there. So we're always open to feedback there, and evaluate different options. But right now, the terms are set on via the cart. And then the second question was to bypass the actual config page flow. It really depends on the product. Since the VPS are a little bit more of a complex product where you can choose managed or self-managed, right now you have to go through that flow to set that. Some of the products, let's say, for Plesk or cPanel or Managed WordPress, those products would go straight to cart when you click the Add to Cart button. So we do give you the ability to customize the buttons a little bit and the text here. So like select plan, and so you can change the messaging there to say, hey, that product is a config product, and configure or select. So
great, and I think in the feedback from the community seems like a popular maybe series moving forward would be a little bit more advancement and feature of the plugin. So Brian and I will be connecting to look into possibly coming up with a modified series where we focus on plugin stuff, or how we can get you guys additional content based on some of the asks and feedback that we received on the plugin. So thanks so much, Brian. Again, just to make the point, we wanted to showcase some of the customization that we are offering now that the new standard storefront is live, and how easy it is to utilize the plugin, the features of the plugin, and then also add your additional branding onto it, and really why it's important. We're going to now move over to Kurt. Kurt's going to look at the standard storefront that we launched, and he's going to go over some of the features of the standard storefront. As a reminder, we did post the comparison of the features in the community, so if you have any questions, do refer back to that document. If we have time at the end, I can show where to find that. I'm going to give it over to Kurt now, and we'll go from there. All right, Kurt, we can't hear you if you're trying to talk.
There it is. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so what I'm sharing right now is pretty much the Reseller Control Center. This is out of the box, brand new plan. So what I wanted to show off is when you first get the plan, and let's say you're building a WordPress storefront like how Brian just did. A lot of people do want to use their custom domain name still on the standard storefront. So I'm going to go to Settings and Branding. This will then just bring in this will just let you put in your own company name. So if I want to just call this Demo Storefront. Demo Storefront.
Hey, Kurt, do you want to go over the difference between display name and company name too?
I was just going to do that right after that. So the display name is going to be what's displayed on the storefront. So in this case, it'd be like your title on this page itself. So if I were to let me hit save real quick. I don't have a custom domain on this yet, so So right here, it'll say demo storefront. I am using a super reseller, so this is slightly, you'll see different products here, but it gives you the same kind of basic concept of this, which shouldn't be actually on that one. Let me switch over to the right plan, because apparently I selected the wrong one. There we go. I think this is the right one. Yeah, so this one looks like still pending delete. But so what you can do then is once you have your display name in and your company name in, your company name is mostly going to be showing on the legal pages as your primary business entity. But let's say if I'm going to be using, let's say, let me use this Brian's storefront as an example here. You know, Brian's site was www.one. So I can actually hit, for the home header URLs, you can actually type in the URL you want to do. So like in this case, if I want everything to be redirected to the storefront, my WordPress storefront, I can go ahead and hit home and type in www1, so that way when I hit save, anytime I go to that page, it redirects back to that WordPress site. And what I do recommend to people, this is for those who still want to might use this as a backup page or any kind of, okay, I might be doing something with WordPress and I'm not ready yet, but I still want to get my branding out there. I do recommend using like a subdomain or a different domain name for the standard storefront. Like I've got right here is store.fpsfantastique.com. That way I can actually set everything up to my own custom URL still, while I'm also building my storefront. So if something happens, they're interchangeable. And I can actually go ahead and hit save, and everything's matching with each other on a more branding level scale. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and go to the navigation page where, let's see. So we've showed this off last month where you can go ahead and like add new links and categories. Recently, we did also just update the links, so I can actually go to now, let's say, for example, here, hosting. I can actually edit the hosting. I can change the product name like cPanel. I can name to, or WordPress or any other products. I can actually rename those to my own specific building. I'm going to use VPS here as an example. I'm going to just call this Linux VPS, and I'm going to go ahead and copy Brian's URL in. So that's the page, that's his exact URL for that. And I'm going to just go ahead and hit close and publish. So what I just did was updated the cPanel navigate or the VPS navigation to go back to my WordPress plugin.
We have a question real quick on that. When will we be able to add custom navigation to cart.secureserver.net pages?
No, that is an item that we can put launching fairly soon here. It was that way that we had kept it of just the home as the navigation and the cart and legal pages because we didn't have custom navigation out there yet. We wanted to give resellers opportunity to edit their custom navigation before we launch that. So we can get that out the door later on this month, and we can let resellers know when we do that. So if you're wanting to make changes, and that's going to show in the cart as well as legal pages, make them here in the next couple weeks, and we'll get that out the door for you.
Okay, and so I'm going to go to my storefront here now. And if I go to hosting, you'll see how it now says Linux VPS. If I go ahead and click on that, it actually redirects back to my WordPress site. So you can do this, rinse and repeat this across all the product pages. That way, if you can always just redirect your customers back to your own custom storefront without actually needing to go through our navigation pages. And then I can do that through every product as well. So I can do domain registration, transfers, website builder, WordPress. Every product that's on our standard storefront can also be edited to go back to your own custom site or the WordPress plugin, or if you're doing it through a third-party platform, you can also have it redirect to those third-party sites. And that's what I have for the updates on the navigation and customizing it to work across the board with the plugin and however custom sites customers want to be building.
Great, thank you. As a reminder, if you have questions, please put that in the Q&A. One of the great features of the new storefront is the custom nav option that we just demoed here. Again, I just want to remind you that posted in the news and alerts section, but also on the community, you will see a comparison between the old storefront and new storefront that we launched. There's a comparison sheet there and some of the additional items of why the change was made and how it can benefit you. I'm going to pull that up real quick so you guys can see and make sure that you all have seen this. There's also a note from us. We have gotten and received a lot of feedback, not only in the community, but direct messages from us. As a reminder, you have a whole team behind you. We're here to support you. We are your partners. We want to make sure that you understand that your voices are being heard. Some are new feature requests. Some are things that we look to address in the very near future. But in order to stay up to date, make sure that you are sharing your feedback with us on that and that you are joining us for these monthly webinars in the news and alert section. So again, we did put this together. This is posted and this is available. We also have an additional Q&A section that kind of goes over a little bit more in advance of why we made some of the changes we did and the reasoning behind that. I just want to wrap it up while we have just a couple of minutes left here with some important reminders so that we can cover a couple of additional things. Some important reminders: there is a new payment system coming. We've potentially talked about this in past webinars last year, but we are now to a point that we can start sharing some information. A new payment system is coming. You will be getting an email from us around the 29th of January explaining the new payment system and the actions you will need to take to ensure information is correct. So be sure to look out for this email. Again, starting around the 29th of January, we'll be sending these emails out. It's important for you to be on the lookout for this email and to follow the actions that we are recommending within the email to ensure that payment is seamless for you. Anything else, Chelsea, before I move on to the other topics that you want to add to that?
Nope, I think that you covered it all.
Okay, great. Again, I've seen some comments in the community and directly that there's no place in the Reseller Control Center that has updated information. We actually have a news and alert section in the Reseller Control Center, so if you don't utilize your dashboard very often, I do recommend that you start in 2019. We have a news and alert section. Be sure to look there for the latest updates and news. Also with the Google Plus community, changes and announcements will be coming by the end of this month. We are working with our internal teams and some external teams to understand what the best option is for this, for not only a platform for you guys to collaborate as fellow resellers, but then also for us to share information. So we will be announcing this by the end of the month. That's all we have for this session of the MoneyMaker. Thank you all for joining us. Again, this is our monthly series that we have for our resellers. We are utilizing the first Wednesday of every month. Next month will be February 6th. Christine will be back moderating this. We're looking at digging deeper into SEO and then looking at some of the great promotions for 2019. I know that there's been a lot of asks for some promotions, so do join us next month for the webinar. Thanks everyone for joining, and we will talk to you guys next month.
Have a good one. Thank you.